Welcome to True Crime Stories for English Learners, where real-life mysteries meet clear and simple English.
The Escape from Alcatraz. It was late at night on June 11, 1962. On Alcatraz Island, the cold wind blew across the dark water. The prison was quiet. Most prisoners were asleep. Guards walked slowly through the long corridors, checking cell after cell. Alcatraz was known as the Rock. It was one of the most secure prisons in the world. People believed that no one could escape from it. The strong currents, cold water, and sharp rocks made it impossible. But on this night, something strange happened. During the early morning check, a guard walked past cell 138. He shined his flashlight through the bars and stepped back in shock. Inside the bed was a sleeping man, but his face looked too still, too quiet. The guard looked closer. It wasn't a man at all. It was a dummy head made of soap, toilet paper, and real hair. The prisoner was gone, and he wasn't the only one. Alcatraz had just discovered the start of its most famous escape. Alcatraz Prison, located on an island in San Francisco Bay, held some of America's most dangerous criminals. It was cold, isolated, and heavily guarded. Every window had bars. Every door was steel. Every movement was controlled. Many men had tried to escape before, but almost all had failed. Some were caught, some were shot, some drowned in the freezing water. But the three men in this escape attempt were different. Their names were Frank Morris, extremely intelligent, quiet, careful; John Anglin, calm, experienced with tools; Clarence Anglin, John's younger brother, strong and patient. All three were excellent planners. All three had escaped from other prisons before. And all three believed that Alcatraz was not as perfect as everyone thought. Together, they formed a secret plan. The plan started with a discovery. Behind each prisoner's cell, there was a small utility corridor, a hidden space full of pipes and old concrete. The walls between the cells and the corridor were weak because of age and moisture. If a prisoner could make a hole big enough, he could slip into the corridor without guards noticing. Frank Morris tested the idea first. He used metal spoons, a broken saw blade, and a small drill made from a vacuum cleaner motor. Every night, while guards were far away, he chipped at the wall. He covered the noise with music from the prison pipes. The Anglin brothers did the same. Piece by piece, week by week, the holes became larger. They hid the progress with cardboard, painted the same gray color as the wall. From a distance, no one could see anything unusual. Soon, the three men had openings big enough to crawl through. The escape was becoming real. Building the raft. Once inside the utility corridor, the men needed a way to leave the island. Swimming in the cold water was deadly, so they decided to build a raft and life vests. But where could they get the materials? From the prison itself. They collected more than 50 raincoats. They stole them, traded for them, and picked up old ones from the trash. Using heat from steam pipes, they melted the rubber and glued the pieces together. They carefully created one large raft, one paddle, and several waterproof bags. They hid everything in the upper area of the utility corridor, a dark space above the cells where guards never looked. Frank Morris even built an air pump from an accordion to help inflate the raft. Their plan was extremely detailed. The dummy heads. Each night, guards walked past the cells and checked the prisoners. So the men needed something that looked like their heads while they worked behind the wall. They used soap, cement dust, toilet paper, real hair stolen from the prison barber shop. The dummy heads looked shockingly real. The men placed the heads on their pillows, covered their bodies with blankets, and quietly slipped through the holes in the wall. They practiced the escape many times. Finally, in June 1962, they were ready. The night of the escape. On the night of June 11th, everything had to go perfectly. After lights out, the three men waited. The prison became quiet. The guards were in their usual routines. Frank Morris removed the fake wall. He slipped through the hole. He crawled up the pipes and climbed to the top of the utility area. The Anglin brothers followed him. But the fourth member of the group, Alan West, could not escape. His hole was too small, and the cement around it was too strong. He worked desperately, but it didn't open in time. West had to stay behind. His chance was gone. The remaining three men reached the roof. They moved slowly across it, avoiding the lights. Then they climbed down pipes on the side of the building. Once on the ground, they carried their raft to the edge of the island. The cold wind blew hard. The water was dark and dangerous. But they had no other choice. They inflated the raft, pushed it into the freezing water, and climbed inside. Then they paddled away from Alcatraz, heading into the night and into one of the greatest mysteries in true crime history. The discovery. Early in the morning of June 12th, a guard walked past the cells for the normal check. He shined his flashlight inside Frank Morris's cell and saw him sleeping. But something felt wrong. The face didn't move. It didn't breathe. When the guard hit the bars with his baton, the head rolled off the pillow and fell to the floor. It broke into pieces. The guard shouted, and the alarm was activated immediately. Other guards rushed to the Anglin brothers' cells. They found the same thing. Fake heads on the pillows, blankets arranged to look like bodies, and holes in the back walls. The prison went into full lockdown. Search teams began checking every hallway, every room, and the roof. Then they found the utility corridor, and the escape became clear. The three men were gone. The first clues: the FBI and Coast Guard joined the operation. Boats and helicopters searched the water around the island. The waves were rough, and the water was extremely cold. Investigators found pieces of rubber from raincoats, a wooden paddle, a waterproof bag, and personal letters from the Anglin brothers. These items were discovered near Angel Island, north of Alcatraz. But there were no bodies, no raft, no clothes, nothing that proved the men died. The FBI tried to reconstruct the escape. Experts said the water temperature at night was about 12 degrees Celsius, 53 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to cause hypothermia in minutes. The currents were strong and unpredictable. Many believed the men drowned, but not everyone. Alan West's statement. The only person who could explain the escape plan was Alan West, the prisoner who failed to get out. Police questioned him for hours. He told them everything: how the holes were made, how the tools were built, how the raft was created, how they practiced, how the escape happened. He confirmed that the three men left the island together. He also said that their goal was to reach Angel Island, rest there, and then travel into the mainland city of Marin County. West insisted he didn't know if they survived. He said, "They had a plan, but I never saw them again." Because he did not escape, he was not charged with additional crimes, but he stayed in prison. The official conclusion. After months of searching, the FBI released its official report. They believed the raft probably broke apart in the cold water. The three men likely drowned. The strong currents may have pulled their bodies out to sea. However, they could not prove it. No bodies were ever found. No clothes, no shoes, no evidence of death. The case remained open for 17 years. In 1979, the FBI finally closed the case and declared the men presumed dead. But the story did not end there. Did they survive? For decades, people around the world have wondered whether the three escapees survived. There are many theories. Theory 1. They drowned. This was the FBI's official view. The cold water and strong currents made survival almost impossible. Theory 2. They reached the mainland. Some investigators believe the men were strong, smart, and well prepared. They think the prisoners reached Angel Island, then moved into the city and disappeared. Theory 3. They escaped to South America. This is the most popular theory. Some people in Brazil claim to see the Anglin brothers years later. A photo from the 1970s seems to show the two men living on a farm. The Marshal Service says the case is still open today. They continue to receive letters, tips, and reports from around the world. One letter sent in 2013 said, "My name is John Anglin. I escaped from Alcatraz in 1962. I am still alive." The letter was never proven real, but it was never proven fake either. Whether the three men died in the icy water or lived new lives under new names, their fate remains one of the greatest mysteries in American true crime history. And more than 60 years later, people still ask the same question: did anyone really escape from Alcatraz?
Another dark chapter closed, but the mystery of human nature continues. Thanks for listening to True Crime Stories for English Learners. Don't forget to subscribe and join me next time for another real story that's stranger than fiction.